Hi, Steve.
Hey, Jim.
Or should I say, hi, Grandpa, twice.
What?
And welcome once again to Two Guys Talking About Records, of Vinyl Community Podcast. Each week, we two guys get together, we talk about records. We're going to expand on that a little bit today, but we're still going to talk about records. But you know what? There's a lot. Holy cow, there's a lot going on, isn't there, Steve?
Life just keeps getting busier and busier, even though you're trying to slow it down, Jim.
And marches. My name's Jim, and I own a record store. And today you're going to hear me talk a little bit about the not so fun side of owning a record store, but I digress.
I'm Steve. I just have a record collection, and all I can say is I buy too many.
You do. You know, you mentioned life just moves on, and we've got the Record Store Day Black Friday list. Obviously, we're going to talk about that today. Each of us have had a couple of big events happen. No, mine not so big as yours. Yours is huge. Ours was just fun. And yours will be fun too for many, many years. But also on top of that, you know, we've got this whole Record Store Day listening party thing coming up with Jelly Roll that's kind of got me a little discombobulated. We messed up our time zones today and everything. So, hey, but before we get into any of that, let's talk about your big life event, shall we? You mentioned this on your Sunday video on your channel today. Congratulations, Grandpa, again.
Yes, second grandchild. My first time dealing with a little girl, since I had just a couple boys. I did have a couple sisters. I can say I wasn't the best big brother when it came to sisters, but I'm so excited. Yes, Evelyn Nicole was born yesterday. I was hoping, it looked like she was going to be born on October 4th, which would have been 10/4, which would have been such a cool sounding birthday. But
good buddy.
Yeah, you bet, big bud, 10/4, big buddy. But I am just delighted to have a little princess. So, there's no doubt Grandpa's going to be spoiling this one. Really, well, I'm already spoiling the other one. So, yeah.
Well, heck, and congratulations to you and to Mom and Dad and Grandma, as well as the big brother too.
Yes, big brother. You know, he actually, I think he kind of understands. There's going to be a baby coming. He pointed to his stomach yesterday, goes, baby. Yeah, that's worth not you, but yes, you're right. You got it coming. So he's not 2 yet, but he has the concept that yes, a baby's coming, and they had a little baby doll, and he was taking care of it yesterday. It was pretty funny. Had to eat lunch with us, and believe it or not, he does understand what's happening, and he just doesn't know how much Mama's going to have to take care of him because he is kind of a mama's boy.
Well, good luck, and again, congratulations to everybody.
Thank you very much.
And not so earth-shattering and earth-moving like a baby in the family, but Kim and I did get to go see Billy Strings, so we can equate that. But Billy Strings just did have a baby too the other day, so it was kind of. But yeah, we got some tickets. A friend and customer here at the store had a couple of extra tickets and offered them up, so Kim and I got to go see Billy Strings Friday night down at Pine Knob, and first time seeing him. Haven't been to a concert that magnitude since before the pandemic, and the last one was Bob Seger at Pine Knob, so It was kind of neat to get out and see that again. But I've been going through that bluegrass resurgence of sorts and learning a little bit more about it, and I'm so fond of that new Billy Strings album that it was good to see him support that with a couple of songs at this concert.
Yeah, that's neat. How was the weather? Because I know Pine Knob's outside, so
it's outside. We were in the seats, so but obviously it was chilly. It was a little chilly, but there was a lot of people there, and the majority of people sitting around us, it could have been 10 below zero, and I don't think they would have felt it. So there was a lot of psychedelics going on.
They may not remember the concert today, but hey, they're having a good time then.
But it was a good show. He and his band with him, they are just such fantastic performers. And even though I knew this by listening to Billy Strings and seeing videos of this, and I still got through the first 2 songs, and I caught myself afterwards like, they don't have a drummer. And I knew this ahead of time, but I don't know why that was. Maybe it was the air around me that made me kind of mystified on that. It's like, That's right. They don't have a drummer set. No, but it was so powerful. The upright bass just really put out a thrum, thrum, thrum. So it was a good sounding show. The lights were there. And the coolest part about all, Billy Strings talked about the fact that his wife had just had a baby boy a couple of days before, and he was talking about that changing his life. And then he brought his father out on stage to play with him for 4 songs, which was very cool and very touching.
Especially when you think about his past life and his growing up and leaving home so early and turmoil. That is
Yep.
neat.
And that relationship has since been repaired, solidified, and it was just very, again, heartwarming to see his father out on stage with him, and it was just a really neat experience.
That's cool. Very nice.
Okay, and one other piece of good VC news that we didn't get to talk about yet, and I wanted to mention this, and today I think we can bring that forward, is that it started off with you being honored, and then out of the clear blue, I got one too, some vinyl community trading cards. This is kind of cool. Can you tell us a little bit about this? And I mean, it's really neat to be a part of this. For me, especially being next to a couple of these big shots from the vinyl community, but you're the mayor. You're kind of expected to be on there.
It's from his handle is Scoocher, and name's Scott, and he's just been a long time commenter on my channel. And that's the thing with our commenters, you don't know what they do in life, but you slowly, especially you build relationships with all of these people, and you start to learn more and more about them. And he is an artist, and he's done something else for me before, but this was really pretty darn funny that this came out, and it does have RIP on cats.
I see that. So this was the first sheet
going on there. Yeah.
Scott did a sheet of these then and put you in here with some big shots also from the vinyl community. Who are these other folks on here with you?
This old goat, he's out of Indiana, big thrifter, really nice guy. I've sent him a lot of VCLT. Bob Bradley's out of Kentucky. He does have a band. He has, he is a musician, and he just scores incredible, especially jazz. Melinda Murphy, very well known. Yep. She just moved to Florida now. Wonderful lady. I've watched her, and she's always watched my channel. Vinyl douche there. That's Sam. He's down in Thailand now, and he has cost me more money than anybody else in the entire VC.
What about me?
Yeah, well, you have also your kid. Yeah.
It's a record store. It's different.
Yes, yeah. But Sam just keeps me up to date of the newest music, and I truly appreciate that. I just bought another album because of him, and of course Norman Maslow, Mazzy. He just has one of the bigger YouTube channels. It's very cool. Yeah.
So that came out, and then a week or two later, I get an email from Scott. And he did a second sheet of these VC trading cards, and lo and behold, I'm so honored to be on this one as well.
Yeah,
Wasteland. It's got the little Rush T-shirt on there, and my BKX in the background. And
he pays attention to the channels and what goes on, and the backgrounds just really they match, and obviously Rush, so yeah, isn't that cool?
Very, very honored to be a part of this. And then look who I'm right next to is Dylan from Noble, for crying out loud.
Well, you know what? Go big, man. The two major record stores in the VC together.
Oh, yeah. And then I'm looking at who else we have here. So I married a record collector. You know those folks as well.
Yep. They're out of Traverse City. Hi, Heidi and JT. And I've met JT, I think maybe about 3 times. Heidi, we've tried, but she's always had something getting together, but just fantastic. Really like them. Richard Riley's out of California. He's in his 80s now. He's just been collecting for years and years and years. You want to know about 50s female vocalists. His knowledge is just incredible on there. The next one, that's Dom from Red. Yeah, great. He's also a musician. He works with computers at Syracuse University, I believe, and just the most incredible record collection. Again, his knowledge is just blows me away. And the last one, oh, Bobby Gaylor.
Yep,
He
Bobby
just
Gaylor.
has a brand new channel. He just started, and I've been promoting him a couple times. Super. I'm still trying to get all of his backstory, but it sounds like he's done some movie work. He's had a band, I believe, and again, just brand new to the VC. That's very cool that you put him on there.
So again, I'm tremendously honored to be a part of that group, and thanks again to Scott for putting those out and sending them on over. He's a very talented individual.
Yeah, he is. He's extremely talented, and I've just appreciated him. For the last few years, he always comments and watches.
I think it also shows too. I think some of the tightness within the vinyl community. A lot of the channels, they support you, especially you support, and you're always promoting these other channels and trying to get more folks involved. It's a great thing, especially when you want to talk records.
It is. We've talked about before, going your whole life not knowing other record collectors or anything. You think it's just kind of a solitary type of a hobby, except with your local, record store person. And suddenly you find there's this gigantic community. And I have just made some incredible friends through this, and just feel very, very blessed. Doing these videos is become an absolute joy for me, whether it's my Sunday show or now doing this podcast. To me, it's my happy time, shall we say.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, part of the vinyl community and all of the channels, and yours included, and this podcast, is that we like to show off some recent acquisitions and additions to the collection. You got too much this week, don't you?
I did, so I can't show it all. So there's some
spread it out.
I haven't even listened to all of it, but I've been at my son's house for a few days now because we're watching Little Aid, and mom's having a baby, my son's there. So yes, I have. I'm still vinyl me, please. I'm just trying to get rid of credit, so I'm just ordering whatever. It looks like a V, but it's supposed to be a T. It's Tunga. And out of Gao, Gao, okay, so it's African. I thought, well, let's just give this a shot. It's brand new music. He was, I guess, a rapper, but he came out with this, and it's actually not bad. I don't mind this at all. It's newer African kind of dance, electronic type music, but there is definitely the African beat happening in here. So yeah, interesting stuff. Then received this. I received some VCLT from another long time subscriber. Goes by Brucey, and his name is Ron Peterson. And one of the albums that he sent me was this was hot on my list of something that I really, really wanted to get because I had an original of this. Well, he winds up sending me another original of it, Richard Helm the Void Doid's Destiny Street. This was his second album that he put out, and big Richard, Hell fan. So this was, very excited. He didn't know I was looking for this, and there it was. And there's some Hunters and Collector albums he sent, a group called the Zulus out of Boston, and a few other things that I will be working into my Sunday show.
Cool.
From Radio Wasteland, we're America's best record store.
Second or third, maybe. We'll see.
Jim got this in. It's from the Cure BBC sessions, and it's early 79 to 81. So that's really what caught my eye, just to kind of see what's going on here. We have 17 seconds of Forest, but just the BBC stuff, it was really interesting, what was going on. I mean, they were so supportive of these bands. I mean, there wasn't a lot of radio stations in Britain because of, however, just protecting. But this was exciting.
That's what we would refer to as an unofficial release.
Yes, and unofficial. Yeah, there's a lot of those odds.
Yep.
Jim convinced me to buy David Gilmour, so I did, because Jim likes to see if he can, help me spend my money. He looks a little old in that picture.
Just a little.
Maybe because he is. I love the guitar work on here. I think when you had done your review on it, you mentioned his voice is not what it used to be, and it's very true. There's times where I kind of wish there almost was a different vocalist. But the guitar work, I think, is beautiful, and that's what I appreciate about Gilmour. I did like his vocals, but his guitar work is everything.
Yeah, and his daughter does do vocals on one track and backing vocals on another. And
yes, and that
there was even did you pick up any of that early Floyd and Echoes vibe with one of the tunes in there?
I did. Yes, yeah, you could definitely feel it in that, and
Cool.
yeah, it was nice to hear something coming up. And I don't know, we'll have to talk about Pink Floyd in a few minutes or something.
We could indeed. There was some news, wasn't there?
Yes. Had this come through, Tangerine Dream. It's Thief, it's called. The reason why I bought this is I did a flip video, and everyone kept saying, you can't find that album. We're looking for that album. You passed on that album. It's a soundtrack to movie Thief. I have no idea. So this was VC Peer Pressure. That I bought that. I just felt so terrible for not buying it, and I went back. Of course, it's still there. It actually was pretty good. You know what? I didn't mind it. I don't know, maybe I have one Tangerine Dream album. I think I do. I mean, that's how much I listen to Tangerine Dream. It's not my normal kind of thing.
It's that 80s synth pop, almost dream pop. They did a lot of soundtrack work also.
Yeah, including this one here that everyone says is hard to find.
Yep.
So there we go. And then due to all that peer pressure, there was this group, The Unforgiven, out. This is an 80s type band where I got the receipts shoved in there, but you got some great 80s haircuts happening there, which is always exciting. I think this was my haircut since 79.
If I'm not mistaken, that's fairly similar to like with the Long Riders from a week or so ago. That kind of almost Southern rock alternative feel.
Exactly. Very, very much so.
Cool.
And then brand new album, and I bought the first and second album. It's a group called Best Bets out of New Zealand. And so first album, second album, this one just came out, kind of a jangle pop going on here, and and yet it's a little harder rock than just basic jangle pop. Some great vocals happening. Sam the Vinyl Douche just showed this one today, so I was trying to think what all I could figure is I got you get a lot of emails from record companies trying to get you to buy something, so I must have listened and loved the samples, and so I thought, well, why buy one when I can just buy two? So, why save any money? So I bought both.
There's the collector's logic.
That's right. Best Bets. And it's really good music.
Cool.
Really enjoyed it.
Looking forward to finding the sound samples on those.
Yes, that one you should be okay. I don't know about some of the others. What about you, Jim? How was your week?
It was a fun week, light-ish week, but I had one that I put out here at the store, and when we got a little slower, I decided to give it a quick listen or two, and that is from a group that I share my initials with. My middle name is an A, so the Jags kicked in here, and I gave this a listen, and nobody picked it up after the drop for a day or so. It's from 1980, and these guys are a British, I say rock band, but it's really kind of almost a new wave power pop sound coming from the Jags on this. And this is Evening Standards is the name of the album. It's very Elvis Costello-ish in spots. I mean, that early Costello, it just kind of, I could feel that and hear that in here, that influence from the 80s, from 1980s.
I remember hearing about them. I mean, so it's a group I know, but I don't know.
Yep. Well, I'm going to explore them a little bit further now that I found that one. Fresh off of our intriguing discussion of prog artists.
Yeah.
I picked up a copy of an album called Back Against the Wall. And this is, oops, I've lost a little thing there, Back Against the Wall. And what this is one of those various artist tribute albums. And it's meant to, it's basically just a complete retelling of Pink Floyd's The Wall, done by some just tremendous prog artists. Let me look at my little note here. Rick Wakeman, Chris Squire from Yes, Ian Anderson from Jethro Tull, Keith Emerson is on here, Alan White also, Robbie Krieger from The Doors. Let's see here, Asia, Steve Morris from Deep Purple. Let's see, there was a couple of other Ronnie Montrose, and Dweezil Zappa is on here as well. But yeah, this is essentially The Wall, and it's not an exact duplication of Pink Floyd's work. It's a little bit different, but it's still faithful and not being too far out. Really neat packaging. This came out, I think, originally in, let me look at my other note here. Originally, this was released in 2005. This is a pressing from 2002. Every year or so, Cleopatra kicks these things out on a different colored vinyl. So I nabbed a pink one. I was familiar with this. We've had it in the store before. And you know what? All these prog artists, we're getting used to those again here, getting into them. So I picked up a copy. It's cool stuff. Not for everybody, especially if you're a true huge fan of the album. Maybe you don't want that hell, I don't want to use the term of bastardized, but in some cases it feels like that in a case. We've had a long discussion, I think a while back, about cover tunes and how, for me, cover tunes or tribute albums, they either need to be remarkably different without being too insulting, or because if it's too similar, then what's the point?
Yeah, great.
This one is just different enough, I think, and you're hearing a different take on the album. But what's cool is it's The Wall absolutely in its entirety all the way through, just a little bit different. So one more here, and since we're talking about tribute albums, I'm going to go on a limb here. And I think I can safely and absolutely positively say that I am the only collector in North America right now with a copy of the various artists Neil Peart Tributes album, Volume 5, Songs for Neil, Volume 5. And I can say that with all certainty, Steve, because I've got the rest of the records that are shipping to the North American customers of this in my back office, and they'll be shipping out next week. Okay. This is from the folks over at Rushfest Scotland, Steve Brown. I've been working with him for a few years now on their series of Neil Peart tribute albums that they sell in the US and the UK and Canada to raise money for cancer research in memory of Neil Peart, who was diagnosed and died from that. Very cool gatefold album. And instead of big name prog artists, these are just real in the trenches, hardworking Rush tribute bands that Steve gathers together to put this out, once a year or so. The artwork, by the way, is done by Hugh Syme, who is done most of the album covers for Rush. Okay. He's been on board with this and doing these tributes. So we got these last week. I got the big shipment from Scotland, so I'm getting that prep to ship out to everybody that in the US that bought their copies, and I'm happy to help out the Rushfest people with this. But so yeah, very cool stuff.
Very nice. Does the packaging, when it comes from Scotland, is it like a plaid box or?
Yeah, no, I tell you what, he did a good job packaging. And the reason we do this, oh, by the way, I should mention it's on this very cool turquoise vinyl.
That is nice.
The reason we do this, that he does this, is the first volume. You can see the picture of the print from the first volume of Neil. Yeah. He sold all of these, and he had numerous, 60, 70 purchases in the US, and found that he was actually losing money shipping them out individually from Scotland to the US. Sure. And that was money that was supposed to go toward the cancer research funds that they were raising. So I bought a copy of this after hearing about it, and Steve and I started a dialogue, and he said, "You're a record store," and he tosses that mate in there with that fantastic Scottish accent he's got. Yeah. I said, "Yeah, I do." And so we got talking, and eventually it was determined that he would make one shipment, a huge shipment, boxes, and this kind of was like 50, 60 albums to me, and then I would in turn send them out via USPS media mail to everybody here in the country that bought them. And it saved them a ton of money, which meant that more could go, their fundraising efforts could go toward the cancer research, which is really cool to do, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
That's nice.
But you mentioned the boxes. Holy cow, the international shipping is not kind to large boxes, and this particular shipment showed up, and out of the 60 or so we got, there was only maybe 4 or 5 minor corner dings, which was a miracle. Mm-hmm. When I picked these boxes up, all I could do was like, oh man, it looks like they were on a plane and then an island with with Tom
Yeah.
Hanks for a while. They were beat to hell, but they came through okay, and we'll get them out to everybody that bought them.
Wow. So it is, but it allows him. It's still a lot cheaper to do it that way, even
Oh
though
yeah, yep, yep.
the freight was a lot. Wow.
Yep. We do work something out with the shipping here, but in individually when you're shipping them, you're almost talking about, and you've shipped internationally before. Heck, even sending or getting stuff from Canada alone, in some cases, it costs more than the record is worth.
Yeah.
And
Oh
so
man.
that would have been the case with these, sending them over individually. And I think that this is just a great mutual relationship, because then we get some, I get a few for the store. We get them out to the people, they save some money, and it all goes to a great cause.
I used to send a lot of VC, to Australia, UK, Sweden, Finland. I mean, so many countries, Denmark, and the freight was more than it was for the album, and it's just like I don't. It's just not.
So this is a great situation. Now, I don't know what I'm going to find as far as sound clips of this or stuff in Spotify, but I'll do my best, because each week after Steve and I talk about our pickups and then whatever we discuss, if possible, we will put together a Spotify playlist so you can hear some of the music and we won't get dinged with copyright. On that note, I should mention last week, Steve, when we were talking about the Billy Strings album, I ran the video, no audio, but I ran the video of Billy Strings. I got hit with a copyright ding on that from YouTube saying you can't show this, and it was just the video, so I ended up having to cut that out of the episode. I apologize, but it was part of the Billy Strings discussion. But it's like, you know what, fine.
You could not have talked with him when you saw him the other night about that.
I couldn't kick in that conversation. He was a little inaccessible from my spot in the crowd.
Obviously, he has not seen the trading cards yet.
I'll call Dylan up and say, hey man, put in a word. One other quick note of news, and Steve mentioned this, and this was and I don't have the exact figure. We can explore this, I think, a little bit further down the line. Maybe we did a Rolling Stones episode. Maybe we should do a Pink Floyd episode going through here. But Pink Floyd, it's nice to see that David and Roger especially, but Nick Mason's still in the mix here. Nick Mason is still in the mix. They put aside their differences long enough to earn some major coin last week, didn't they?
$400 million.
That's a lot. Pink Floyd sold their catalog, their licensing rights to Sony Music. Yeah. So, I mean, good for them, because really what's going to happen, they're in their late 70s, 80s here in some cases. And a lot of these older artists are doing this. They're taking, this is my cash out time.
It is. And I guess, you think we can get, Prince left it with his foundation or his family, his stuff.
His estate. And I think that was a little bit of a mess. They're still kind of dealing with stuff.
Yeah. And Hendrix had done the same thing too. He left with the Hendrix, which was a mess because everyone's asking, well, I need to be a part. You know what? They're all fighting for it.
I don't think with Hendrix, it was as much as I'm leaving this. It was just, it happened for him.
Yeah.
Prince, I'm sure, had some lawyers by that time stacking it up, but it still was messy.
Yeah. And this, I mean, they tried to do this before. They'd asked for 500 million, but there was just problems with Waters and political views and stuff. And so it just kind of, it fell apart. And Jim, you think back, there's artists like Neil Young, and you think of all the bootlegs that he has put out himself. He's taken those bootlegs and brought them back, says, no, that's mine. And he puts them out. But Pink Floyd's never done that. And why? It's because he can't get along. Let's face it. So maybe now Sony can do that and start looking at some of this stuff that, okay, now we own this stuff. I would think all that, bootleg stuff, they could say, you know what? We can now put that out and do something decent with it.
They can reclaim that basically and bring it in. But again, as the artist gets older, and I mean, it's good on them, they're really doing something, I think, that's a smart move at that stage in their life.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, you're going to have a lot of. If you can spend all that before you drop off, well, God bless. But it's pretty amazing.
The downside that I see of Sony taking over the Pink Floyd catalog
Yeah.
is that now we're going to begin hearing Pink Floyd music in commercials. They're going to try to cash in on some of that 400 million and trying to get that back. So let's see what we could do. Money will probably end up in a Citibank commercial. Comfortably numb. Maybe there's some sort of I don't know, legalized commercial would come to run like hell. Let's see. We could hit a tennis shoe commercial with that one.
Yeah.
I'm giving them ideas. Maybe I should stop.
Well, just make sure you collect a little something for the ideas that you have helped them with.
I could. Let's see. If we were to hit up, let's see. There's all of these, like maybe Husqvarna. They could be careful with that axe, Eugene. Use a Husqvarna chainsaw.
I gotta figure, figure out how McDonald's can cash in with this stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
they'll yet to be seen,
point.
but I actually do believe that will be forthcoming. That you're going to start hearing that happen. Unfortunately,
and we'll probably start getting picture discs.
Ooh, well, you mean other than the 50th of Dark Side?
Yeah. Every record store day, we'll get a new picture disc from them. So.
Hey, well, speaking of record store day, how's that for a segue? The record store day Black Friday list was announced this week, as we kind of thought it would. And so how about we take a few minutes and we look at the highlights, maybe our picks of this list. Overall, I've yet to go through it deeper because things have been a little busy for me here at the store, but I think it's a decent list. It's a solid list, but what I'm hearing from a lot of folks is it feels smaller, and it does feel smaller because it is a smaller list. I think that this was a conscious decision on the part of Record Store Day based on feedback saying, maybe scale things back a little bit, please, from the record store side of things. There's too much. It was too overwhelming. So I think it's a case. I was looking at some comments on the Record Store Day Facebook page, and they try to answer folks as best they can, but it's really kind of a no-win. If they put out a huge list, you get people saying, "Oh, there's so much crap on here. What are you doing?" And so they put out a little bit, scaled back, and now they're complaining. There's not so much stuff on here. It's like, well, what do you do?
Well, I think the hard part for them is now that vinyl's been pushed to a younger crowd, is how do we make a list that encompasses everyone from country to rap to twee? How do you bring all these people in so we can give them something? I think Taylor Swift was missing off this, though. So
she's missing, but one of the surrogates in the form of Billie Eilish is there. So.
Oh, well, thank God for that. So that way you can get somebody lined up for you. But
if you head over to the Record Store Day website, if you're unfamiliar with how this works, it's recordstoreday.com. And right on their front page, they'll have the Black Friday list. You click on that and you can look at it a couple of different ways. Preferably for me, when we click in, I like to just go to the web because it's a little more interactive and we can kick through here. So right off the bat, Steve, you want to go through what you think some of your picks and your highlights are, and then we'll go through some other spots on the list and see what we come up with.
Yeah. One of the first ones that I had marked off was Angelo Badalamenti. He did the Twin Peaks soundtracks. He's done Blue Velvet soundtracks. It's just, he makes that he made the, music for so many David Lynch things.
Okay.
And so it's creepy. It's atmospheric. I just, Twin Peaks soundtrack is my favorite soundtrack of all time. And so, but these other ones are really good too. So I'm pretty excited about that, putting a greatest hits out there.
Okay.
From him.
I will do my best. If you want me to, I'll try to look up some suggested retail prices on these if we need to. But yeah, this one, the other thing too to keep in mind as we look through these folks, there are three classifications. Record Store Day first. The one that Steve mentioned is an RSD first, meaning that this will be reissued in some way, shape, or form down the line. We don't know when, but it will be reissued. Record Store Day exclusive means that this is it. The Record Store Day Black Friday release is the only one you're going to see, Randy Macho Man Savage, until future times.
Yeah.
And then you have regional focus, which tend to be shorter run pressings. Now, this one's got a quantity of 1,500. So that may be difficult to get, but it's also something that I don't think a lot of people would be looking for.
Yeah, it is a first, so something will come out, and it's still those exclusives somehow then come out in a whole. Well, That was an exclusive, but we're putting it out again in black vinyl or in a different type of vinyl. Yeah. Okay. All right. The big one. This is the big one. Bluey. A 45 of Bluey. My grandson loves Bluey. Loves that song, so I have to get Bluey. And that probably will be good. I don't know how many are coming. It's a 7-inch picture disc.
It's a 7-inch picture disc. They are pressing 4,000 of them. So it's right on that borderline of being super rare and tough to get and over pressed. And 4,000, I think, is a good spot on this, but it's going to be a huge, huge in demand collectible, I think, for Record Store Day.
Yeah. I don't care about the collectability. I just want it because my grandson's going to want it. Dang it.
And it is an RSD exclusive. I've got an interesting point Kim brought up with the likes. There's been Bluey releases before for Record Store Day. As a record store owner, I can tell you that whenever I get older kids records in, whether they be 7 inches in some cases or the full out like older Disney albums, they're beat to hell because kids played these things. So now the parents who are maybe vinyl collectors themselves getting a Bluey 7-inch for their kid, realizing that it's going to be a high dollar collectible at some point because of the numbers of them. Do you let the kid play it and beat it up as a kid, or do you protect it for an investment? I don't know where to go with that.
Well, I'm going to tell you, it's staying at Grandpa's house. Grandpa will play it for him.
There you go.
Get to it, but no, it's not going to his house. I'll find some. I got a bunch of crappy things I can give him, But
play with this. Let me look at the what do you think the cost on a Bluey 7-inch is going to be here?
No, if it's $100, it doesn't matter. It's for my grandson, damn it.
12
bucks.
$24.99, almost $25 for a 7-inch single.
Holy
is the suggested
crap.
retail price.
That's insane.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. I'll buy it. And they know that. They know people will do that because they're going to buy it. Grandpa's going to buy it for their grandkids or mom and dad. Yeah. Boy, you talk about making a profit. Holy cow.
Wow, indeed.
Yep. It doesn't matter. Yeah. So, but that comes down to, your little one, you want to make them happy and you just buy stuff. Wow.
So those are your two, huh?
Well, no. Here's a couple other ones. You might be interested in this one. Eramus Hall. Eramus Hall. ERAMUS Hall. Lost and Found. They're out of it's a Detroit funk band.
Oh, okay.
So it just brings back a little Michigan stuff. I had not heard of them, and I'm looking at that. I go, that one might be kind of cool. They were on those early labels that Parliament and Funkadelic were on.
Okay.
And so I don't know what to expect of it, but it has me interested. I'll probably go pull up some samples of it and listen to it.
Let's see if I can find that. Eramus Hall, $24.98, the suggested list on that one. So $25.
Yeah.
And this is one of the RSD limited runs, regional focus. There's only going to be 1,000 of those pressed.
And
so that could be a little difficult to find.
Well, I'm hoping since it's Detroit, regional focus would be Michigan.
Yep.
That's my hope.
Do our best to get a hold of those.
Yeah. Helmet is releasing Betty, which is such a classic from the 90s. That was just one of their biggest albums. And I don't know if it's been reissued before. Again, it's a first, but so it will come out. But that was a classic back then. I used to have that in CD.
$32.99 is the suggested list price on that. 3,500 pressed, and it's a first. So you're right. So it will come back out again.
Yeah, that one could be good. Probably the one I was most excited about on the list, besides Bluey, was Paul Ngozi and Viva Ngozi. And this was his first solo album. Besides, instead of the Ngozi family, he just came out just an important Zamrock album. It's in '76. It's before he really got more into disco, and not American disco in Africa was just more dance related. And
Okay.
so the Zamrock, faded out. Zamrock only lasted a couple years, quite honestly, because then people wanted to dance. But that I've never seen. I don't think it's been reissued before. It is a first, so something it will be released.
Yep.
But I'm really
1,200 on the pressing.
yeah, so not a lot, but I don't know how many people really want Zamrock.
I remember the other day I texted you when I saw this on there and said, there is the Steve Carlson effect on the record store day list. They said, Steve Carlson says we should be listening to more Zamrock.
Yep. Yep, absolutely. It is my passion.
Let's see. The list price for the Ngozi is going to be $27.98.
Okay. All right. Here's another one I think is going to be really big. The Ramones' greatest hits. It's never been released on vinyl.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And I think, it's greatest hits. Okay, you probably now I can see that one going for a lot of money, but supposedly they said it hasn't been released on vinyl before. So
The lot of money is not listing out at $24.98.
no way! Wow.
Yep. 5,000 being pressed, but it is an RSD exclusive. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's gonna be a good one. Does the track? Let's see if there's a track list on here.
That's the kind of thing, Jim. If you had that one left over, it's going to sell.
Oh yeah, heck yeah. So we'll put in for a few of those. Heck, that might be one for me now that I think about it.
Yeah.
But again, I have to wait till they are left because I don't do that. So
Yep. No.
that could be a good one.
Yeah. The final one I had down, was Charlie Patton, the father of the Delta blues. Yeah, he's just an important blues artist. It's always nice when they put the blues in here. His is really early blues, so it's more, shall we say, primitive blues. Him and a guitar, but he influenced so many other people, including Robert Johnson.
Wow.
And you can find a lot of Charlie Patton out there. Different renditions of his music, but I believe he played with Paramount was his label. But that one has me interested. It is an exclusive.
Yep.
I'm sure
1,400 being pressed.
Yeah. So
and looks like the list price on that is $26.98.
Okay, not bad. So really, Bluey's the biggest. Take it is what the one that's going to take you to the bank the most. So.
From my standpoint, there's a few things on here, and I'll just start with the one that I'm still on the fence about. We have talked about this before, and it's the finally getting back around to King Missile and Happy Hour.
Is it really going to happen, Jim?
Is it going to?
It really is.
This was on the Record Store Day Black Friday list a year ago, and it just got unceremoniously pulled, obviously because of production problems or something's up with that. Then it showed up on the Record Store Day proper list for a short time and disappeared back in April. So now it's back here. King Missile, I guess they're going to fall under the umbrella of alternative music, but we've talked about this before. I've got a King Missile album in my collection in the form of They, and it's like this very strange mixture of stripped back alternative music and beat poetry, punk rock. Is that close?
Yeah, I think so. It's just the talking. The lyrics are talking, but kind of poetic. But they're out there, man.
They are. This album, known primarily for their Beavis and Butthead appearances, and the song, the single "Detachable Penis," which is a funny song.
It is. It's hilarious.
But yeah, King Missile's Happy Hour, 1,900 of them being pressed, and it's an RSD exclusive. We'll see. Now, the other song that they mentioned in the highlight here talking is Martin Scorsese. If you've not heard that song, go find it. There's two versions. There's a censored version and a completely and totally, absolutely uncensored version out there that just talks about how big of a fan they are of Martin Scorsese and his films.
Yeah.
It's fun. But yeah, so King Missile, if they make it this time, $37.98. 30th anniversary is the 37.98's the list price on that one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that an exclusive or a first?
It is an exclusive, so we'll see if that happens now, won't we?
Yeah. Yeah.
The other big one that so far we looked at our request lists that in depth here at the store, but I'm getting a lot of buzz on the Doors live in Detroit. This
Yeah.
is a performance from Cobo Arena in May of 1970, and they're putting this out as a 4 LP release for Record Store Day, and I'm getting some interest on that because of the Michigan connection, obviously.
Mhm.
But this, I've had this as a bootleg in the store many times before, not a full, but this looks to be the full performance from 1970. And for a 4 LP set, the price doesn't come in too bad on that. They're looking at $79.98 on that.
Yeah.
And it's 5,000 being pressed, so there should be a lot of them out there, but it is an RSD exclusive. So
Okay. Well, then what about that Big Brother and Holding Company live at the Grand Ballroom in Detroit? Have you had
that's
anybody-
another one. Yep. That was kind of on my radar. Not for me specifically, but yeah, this is a double LP RSD exclusive 3,500. So it could be a little more difficult to bring in. Let me call up my list here, looking at the price. Yeah, the list price on that is $20.98. So 21 bucks. A little bit different. Now, the sound quality of the Detroit one, I'm sure, is going to be good from the Doors. The Grande Ballroom in Detroit, this would be a tremendously historical performance. I just wonder what the sound quality is going to be like. I'm sure that this has been bootlegged before. I've just never run into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll go from there. So the only other one, there wasn't anything that really stood out for me other than I'm thinking possibly the King Missile. There was a lot of other cool stuff on here. But the one that's kind of standing out is another one so far is the Billie Eilish release. Now, Hit Me Hard and Soft was a release from earlier this year. And this, to me, at first, this is a little mystifying because this release of her newest album is being called an isolated vocals version. It's a variation of Billie Eilish's album, featuring isolated vocal recordings showcasing the album in a stripped back and raw light, highlighting the power of Billie's vocals. So this is an RSD first. 25,000 of these things are being pressed. I don't think there's going to be a problem getting that. And my first thought is like, okay, isolated vocals is interesting, but man, would that'd be something maybe I could get as just as a digital file, which it was released digitally earlier this year. But I'm getting a few people asking about this, so that this is probably going to be a major release at our store here, at least.
Okay.
Now, isolated vocals, I went and listened to them. It is exactly what it says. It's basically just her vocals from that album. And interesting from the standpoint of being a collector, $32.99 is the list price on that, by the way. All I can think of is this has been floating around on the internet for a while. If you do a search on YouTube, you can find David Lee Roth's isolated vocals from some early Van Halen albums. That is unintentionally funny. It's just Roth going, it sounds really bizarre. And I listened to a few of these, and there is that on there. I mean, obviously it's her vocals singing, but there are some vocalizations of the sounds that she's making through there. So yeah, that's the thing.
I won't buy it, but good.
I mean, good on that, but obviously they're expecting something if they're pressing 25,000 of those.
Yeah, they are.
It's beyond the pale.
You didn't have the Beatles 3-inch on your list.
No, I didn't. And that's, I still hold true. I mean, the Beatles collectors love those. Let me see if I can find that right here. Two things from the Beatles. There is going to be a capital 7-inch of I Want to Hold Your Hand. And I saw her standing there. 10,000 of these in RSD first. Historical. It's a recreation of the original Capitol sleeve, which is kind of cool. You want to know the price on a 7-inch for those guys?
Yeah.
Let's see what we got here. $13 and $16.98. I'm sorry. $16.98. I was looking at the
Boy,
wrong.
45 sure have gone up in price, haven't they?
They have gone up there. Yeah, the Beatles 3-inch. These are tough because if this is, yes, the record and carrying case. So they're not the same as the 3-inch turntable when they sell them. Those are more difficult. You have to buy from a record store side. We got to buy from a different distributor than where we normally would get stuff. So this is just a 3-inch release to go with the companion of the turntable that they sold back in April. So this is the newer one of the Beatles, All My Loving, 2,500 RSD first. So they're going to sell those as well. The Beatles, they are not on my list. So that means it's not available from my distributor.
Okay.
So I don't know what the cost on that would be.
Well,
digging.
It comes with a carrying case. So you get your one record in a carrying case.
Other stuff on here. I mean, there's some stuff. I'm going to go through this a little bit more in depth. And there's a lot of people that are digging through it as well. As always, there's stuff that people like. There's stuff that people don't like in through here.
It's the Dio picture disc that's missing again.
The Dio picture disc. Yep. It's not going to feel like a record store day without it. The Flamin' Groovies, that could be cool. It's Alive from 1980 of the Flamin' Groovies. There you got your Jerry Garcia and your Grateful Dead box sets making their appearance through here as well.
Bill Evans has another. I think every record store day there's a Bill Evans concert that they've unearthed.
Jane's Addiction, Imminent Redemption on here. It's a 12-inch single, so it's not a full release on that. That could be kind of cool. Oh, the other big one, it's going to be here, Stick Season collaborations from Noah Kahn. Record store day first, 15,000 being pressed. That I think is going to do well as well. His stuff has been doing very well on the record store day releases of late as well. MF Doom.
Pilots have something.
I'm sorry?
Stone Temple Pilots are coming out. One on there too.
We'll get down there here in a second. Pearl Jam. I've had a couple of other requests. It's a Pearl Jam RSD Song of the Year. They do these once in a while. A 12-inch single should be kind of interesting. Not a huge list, but still I think some good. There's the Ramones' greatest hits on here. Olivia Rodrigo, The Guts Spilled. It's going to be a different take on the tracks of Olivia Rodrigo's Guts album. That's, I think, also going to be a big one. Rolling Stones, Get Your Yayas. I've had a couple of requests on that already coming in. Oh, I forgot one big one here. This is going to be another big one. Let me see. The Stone Temple Pilots you hit as well, correct? Did I miss those? Nope. Purple Rarities from Stone Temple Pilots. Celebrate the 30th anniversary of Purple with Rarities. So this is early versions and demos of stuff from there, which again, we've talked about. Those could be interesting. Here's one that I'm going to go out on and say that this is going to be a sleeper hit, Steve.
Okay.
The SpongeBob SquarePants movie soundtrack.
I agree.
The 20th anniversary. This is hard. The 20th anniversary. My kids, when they were young, loved this movie. They loved the sound. We had the soundtrack playing on the iPod all the time through here. Goofy Goober Rock. 6,000 of them RSD exclusive. This could be a fun one. But it's fun kids music. Again, a little nostalgic. My kids are in their 20s now, so both of them reacted fondly to this when they saw this on the list, which is kind of fun.
You see, U2 has one, How to Reassemble an Atomic Bomb.
I didn't catch up at the U2 stuff.
Yeah,
there it is.
So they're taking their album, How to Assemble an Atomic Bomb, redoing it. And so now it's How to Reassemble it.
20,000 copies of that. I gotta be honest with you, Steve. At our store, at least, for whatever reason, the U2 stuff never sells well. I don't know why. Maybe it's just our area. It just doesn't do well here.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Well, they're going to reassemble it on that one. I don't know. Could that? To me, it's like, oh, really? So this is a better version than the first? I don't.
Dead or Alive, putting out a 7-inch, You Spin Me Round. I don't know. 1,000 of them, limited run.
Yeah, but look at that picture. Oof.
It is, but man, it's one song. That is, in a nutshell, the list. I'm sure you and I will talk about this again as we go through and get a little closer to Record Store Day, Black Friday, coming up on the day after Thanksgiving. If you folks would like a look at the list, head over to recordstoreday.com. You can kind of search through that to your heart's content and see what you think. I think all in all, Steve, it's a decent list. A few standouts, but again, people are going to see stuff they love. People are going to see stuff that they don't love. They're going to wonder where some stuff is. Like, where's the Dio picture disc, which you already said?
Where's Ozzy Osbourne? Didn't see anything from him. Yeah.
Well, where's the Taylor Swift? But maybe they're saving that for the next time around. We'll see what happens. Very curious to see what you folks think, though. Please feel free to connect with us in the comments section of either our Spotify episodes or on the YouTube episode. And you can always visit our Facebook page, Two Guys Talking About Records, for a little bit more on that. So any other final thoughts on that, Steve? RSD Black Friday?
No, I there wasn't a lot for me, but I think it's a very well-rounded list to try to get a variety of people in. So I appreciate that. You know what?
I think that's the point.
Yeah, I think it just can't be Hendrix and the Doors and Jefferson Airplane, you know, classic rock. We need to make it well-rounded. And when you throw in a Zamrock album, then it's 2 thumbs up.
You get the Steve Carlson seal of approval.
That's right.
The DC's Zamrock go-to guy.
Yeah.
I've got a busy day here at the store, and we didn't get a chance to talk about this, but we're taking part in one of these Jelly Roll listening parties. His new album is releasing next week. They sent me some goodies to give away. I'll fill you in next week because there's some oddities happening with this today as well. This is a Jelly Roll air freshener they sent to me, and I would have thought and or hoped that it would smell like a jelly donut.
Yeah.
It does not.
No.
I know I can't place it. So we'll see what goes. All right, I'll fill you in on everything that goes and tell you about the weirdness leading up to the Jelly Roll listening party next week. How's that sound, Steve?
Sounds fantastic. Can't wait to hear how this one.
Oh, thanks. Well, you go enjoy that new granddaughter. If everybody's coming home, hopefully you get some good quality time in, and congrats again on that.
Yeah, it's nice right now because all they're going to do is sleep, and you know, as soon as they cry, you can pass them off. So yeah, it is the best time.
There we go. Well, you folks have a great week as well. And Steve, you too. We will talk to you all next week from Two Guys Talking About Records. Until then, my name is Jim. I own a record store, and I'm about to go get busy with some Jelly Roll.
And I'm Steve, a record collector, and I'm going to go be grandpa.
Have a good one, man. Thanks.
Yeah, you too. Bye, Jim.